everyone, and welcome to the Dingers and Discord podcast. We're all about Mario Superstar Baseball. We made it to week number 3, and I have myself a good episode to share with you guys and my crew. We're joined here by Little Cokes, Mr. Joe Baseball, Clutch, Remke, and a new face, Hell's Hero. Hells, you want to talk about yourself a bit?
Yeah, no problem. Hell's Hero, name's Jake. I've been with the Mario Baseball Discord for about a year now. I'm a 2-time net play superstar champion. I think I'm 3rd right now on the money earning tier list. I will say I am the resident boomer of the list and also the top international player as I am a Canadian. So yeah, I get to rep both communities, old people and Canadians.
That's pretty cool. I never heard yourself introduced as like a top international player, but it does make sense.
Top international boomer, Hell's
Yeah.
Hero.
Honestly, I think Hell's is the first person on the podcast to introduce themselves by where they rank on the payout tier list. You know, we
That's
should
a
be
great
saying the
ranking.
ELO leaderboard, but anyways.
ELO leaderboard's old news. 2nd and 3rd, I don't need that one. I need to know where the money's at.
Who's got the money?
I've got the most negative money.
Yeah.
So there's that. You're welcome.
You and Poke.
Yeah.
Thanners is up there too after Thanners
Bananas.
Bananas just finished. Yeah.
I think I'm at like negative 50, but it's okay. All right, well, let's get started with the topic we always start with, the weekly roundup. And we're going to start with the Rookie Rumble 4. It's the 4th event that Vickless Falcon has hosted for us, including 21 different players. And the top seed, Riley Scott 64, goes down early, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Really
did not even
unfortunate.
make it out of pools. He drowned.
Yeah, that's not
Unfortunate.
good. Not looking good so far. Anyone watch any of his games at all?
I didn't get I didn't catch any of them, but Riley is he's a bit of a choker in tournament.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Does not repping the streamer community well with his recent tournament performances.
I just don't think he was listening to the Drake album. That's what it's
Yeah.
all about. He's a big Drake
Well, he
guy.
said he said he was listening to the clean version, and
Oh.
That's where he went wrong. He
That's why
has to
he
listen to the
was bad.
explicit version.
Yeah, definitely a boomer moment.
Clean version's washed, so it makes sense.
True.
Well, we got some new faces rising up in the community. Super 63 and Neku going undefeated in pools 5-0. Big moment for some of the new guys coming in here, putting their name out there. Any opinions on these people?
I played against Neku the other day, and they almost took me down. I had to have a bit of like I don't remember if it was 8th or 9th inning rally to end up winning that game. But I think my game against Neku went into extra innings. I think it went into the 10th inning before I think I hit a grand slam to win it. But Neku's been playing well. I think they had a little bit underwhelming results in some other tournaments recently, but they definitely have a lot of potential to get the bats rolling, get some pitching going, and definitely make some upsets.
Neku's
Yeah, and then-
pitching is solid. I played against Neku in Poke's tournament a couple months ago, and even then I was like, oh, this person is like, I think they're ranked 32 seed or whatever it was in that one, and I won by 1 Bowser Grander and nothing else. So Neku's on the come up, and I've heard a couple people, like more of the top players, say it's been close games each time.
That's
Hey,
exciting.
That's really good.
right now.
Yeah.
I like seeing better competition. That's very good. And that's what you want to expect, you know. Meta's rising, everything else feels like people are working at it well.
Yeah, I love to see any like new player make an upset over a top player. It's nice. I feel like it's encouraging to people to like see that like me, Hells, Krasy, Joe,
Yeah.
like any of like the top like 10 of the ELO board or whatever it is. We're not indestructible. We're not like everyone can have a bad game. Everyone can, just not get the bats rolling for 9 innings. Anyone can, crank a grander with Hammer Bro. And it just blows the game wide open. It's not just a long, like it might be, low chances, but every game there's a chance of an upset. and the game's never over.
Yeah, and I think people get into that mindset a lot too, where they see they see the top players winning everything. Remke, Krasy, Hells, you guys are winning, pretty much every event that happens, Cactus, whatever. But like, you guys are grinders, especially Remke and Krasy. You guys play the game a ton, and it's not like you just hopped in and were immediately number one ranked. Sure, like the rise is pretty quick, but it takes time and it takes effort. And over time, if you just play this game and you understand the meta and you know what you're doing, like, you will be able to compete with the best players. It's not this game is not very mechanically challenging. So as long as you understand what you're doing, you're most likely going to be able to play well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rookie Rumble this time is super interesting, and I mean we'll kind of keep going through the scores here in a second, but this was the first time it was closed off based off of ranking. It was C tier and below on the leaderboard instead of what was considered a new net player before. I'm going to call it the Remke rule because we had Remke, Says, and there was someone else that
Shobs.
was like Shobs.
Yeah.
There was like basically like 2 or 3 A/B tiers, and they were still technically new net players, and it just kind of defeated the purpose of Rookie Rumble. Like the idea is to like
to be.
bring
I was
out
gonna
some
say
new
to be
people.
fair. To be fair, when I entered that tournament, I think I was maybe 2 weeks old in the server, and then the tournament got delayed by like 2 or 3 weeks after I entered. And in that like 3 weeks, I like took a leap and started climbing the board. So like I was, and it was, I think it took like a week and a half or like maybe 2 weeks to get through pools. And I think that's why it came to that point. But it was like when I entered that tournament, I think I was like a C tier when I entered the tournament. But it just took a while, and in that time, I just started climbing up, and I think I was like 5th on the leaderboard by the time that I like won the tournament or something like that. I don't remember, but
I mean, hey, you always got to have a Rookie of the Year, right?
always gotta have Rookie of the Year.
But the point I was going to make was basically, we kind of know who is towards the top in like MPS pools
Right.
and who are going to make their undefeated runs. It's cool to see like who in C tier, if they're only playing C tier or below, would be undefeated. Like, would they be undefeated, or would they just like have a bloodbath and like beat up on each other, and it's not like a clear like number 1 or number 2 in that tier? And so I think this kind of structured tournament of having only certain tiers eligible is really interesting for that reason.
For sure.
Moving on in here, so a couple new stuff that happened. So it was the first time that the top 8 was going to be best of 3. Do we want to keep that going in future tournaments, maybe on, or will we close that off?
For tournaments that run asynchronously, absolutely. For events that are run live, it's impossible.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, it's unfortunate, but as of now with our current rule set, if you're gonna do best of 3, it would have to be single elimination, and even then, it's still gonna run too long.
And even with it being asynchronous, the finals were actually played in 2 parts because of the day the final was played was the day that net player servers went down. So they played the first 2 games, and I don't think they got to game 3 for a solid week. So even that, like playing best of 3s, it can take some time. But if it's asynchronous and there's not a huge time crunch to get rounds in, then I think it's definitely a good format to have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally always a fan of more games.
Yeah.
More games, longer games. Looking at you, Stars on. But I'm always a proponent of that because it gives you more time to start to read your opponent, and I've said this before too. Gives you more time to get accustomed to what your opponent's doing, make adjustments to your play, and actually adapt to what's going on, as opposed to a 5-inning game where by the time you start to get reads and adapt, the game's over. So that's kind of where I lie on that.
Yeah, I think 9 innings is important, and best of 3 is great, but it's not
It takes
realistic,
so long.
unfortunately. Yeah,
It's like you have to allot an hour and a half for every set in a best of 3, and that's just not realistic. For a tournament setting.
You just don't want to put that much time into it, especially if you're playing multiple games in a day. It's kind of draining for some people.
Yep.
Some people don't have that mentality just to play and play and play, which that's
Right.
me. I'm not that type of person, so I really get it. So going back to the undefeated players and pools, they did get knocked out. by the two people that did make grand finals, that being the Joe Meister and Fabricator. Joe beating Super 63 15-7, 9 Super 63 winning 9-0, and then Joe closing it out 10-4. And then Fabricator versus Neku. Neku wins 6-5. Fabricator with the reverse sweep 16-12 and 6-3. Those were definitely very good series themselves. Basically proving your point earlier that, hey, you could take down anyone no matter how they played. It's about who's hot and who can, play the better baseball game. So definitely a good one.
And you look at it too, we have best of 3 here, and Fabricator versus Neku. Neku won the first game, but then Fabricator won the series. So adjustments happen.
Same in finals.
Yeah, same happened in finals.
Really gives you a shot to learn your opponent, figure out their weaknesses, and I feel like that really brings out the better player.
And you can see it really with Joe Meister putting up 16 runs and 12 runs in the last 2 games, as opposed to only putting up 2 in the first one. He got mercied in the first one, and then came back, put up 16 and 12. That's just the definition of, understanding what your opponent did to you in the first game and adapting your play to fix it.
Yeah, it's not even like Fabricator was his batting stayed with it. He put up 9 and 8 runs in the last 2 games, but Joe Meister was just on him.
Yeah, so
I think the one thing I saw was definitely a lot of offense in these games, which was crazy to see with the new net players I've seen before. A lot of the times have been low scoring games. Seen a lot of like 2-0s, 3-1s. And this one, I think that goes to, all the tools that have been added for people to see about like slicing and learning things in the metas, that new net players have offense right away. It's not just, 9 strikeouts, 12 strikeouts in a game. Instead, you saw 12, 16, 12 in games. Like, these are massive like blowouts back and forth. They're going into second or third pitchers each time. So it was really nice to see on that side.
I think that's a good point there too, when you mentioned the resources of learning the meta. I think that's a really valid point, because back in the day, like before we had all these guides posted and tutorials and all that stuff, people would just kind of say, when I use this character, if I just hold my stick here and I think it does better and I hit better, or I swing late with this guy and I swing early with this bat character, or whatever it is. And it was kind of just vibe and feel, and some people just had it, other people did it, and now all the resources are there. There's no you don't have to play 1,000 games to figure it out yourself. Like, you can just go figure out, I have to swing at this frame timing with Birdo's Star, and I have a much better chance of getting on base. And it's just right there. I think that the knowledge gap is definitely not necessarily or maybe not the knowledge gap, but the path to get to the knowledge that you need in order to compete at high level is definitely a lot easier now.
The hill is not as steep due to a lot of resourcing, and so I think that could be a really fun topic for another podcast down the line. Maybe we could tell new net players what resources they should look at when they first get into the game.
Yeah,
definitely down for that next episode or later on today.
I'll give you a hint. It's literally just Mr. Joe's YouTube channel.
No, see, I was actually gonna suggest my modding tutorial video. I think it's really good too.
You just it's a controller modding video on how to turbo your controller.
It's just get a frame 1 box controller.
Yeah.
There are. This is a different topic, but there are. I've thought about this before, about optimal controller mods for Mario Baseball. Maybe you'll talk about.
We need notches, baby.
Notches.
Optimal controller mods. That's a new one.
What controller mods are you thinking?
Right now, it's pretty easy actually.
I actually want to hear it.
You remove the springs from the triggers. So that way, because in Mario Baseball, the analog spring press doesn't do anything. It's just the press. So you just remove the springs, and it's just the press. I did that for Smash or Melee. Yeah. And I just use it for Mario Baseball now. So I can star swing and L cancel a little bit quicker.
That's actually really nice.
Yeah.
Well, he might be doing that now. Might be.
I was saying, time to order a new controller and take the springs out.
Hey, I got 2. I've got my second GameCube controller.
I've been thinking about needing a second backup one just in case. So anyway,
giving him ideas, Cokes.
We got to get off of this quick.
All right, getting off of this one quick. Let's move on to topic number 2 today. A topic that gave everyone a big smile: the Mario Superstar Baseball Meetup. hosted by Mr. Joe's the Dinger City crew, if I believe correctly, right?
That's correct.
How did
Yeah,
that go? I see well, for you guys it's different, but 3 people here went in person, being Cokes, Clutch, and Joey. So you guys want to talk about what went on? I watched it on the stream, but completely different in person and on the stream.
I think we can round up the games first. So I think the best part to pick up, if you didn't watch any of the stream or anything, pick up from the quarterfinal match, Baltimore versus Maddie.
Yeah.
The most insane game of the tournament. It's unfortunate that we didn't have a crowd mic because the whole place was popping off the whole game. You can tell when, because it was hype plays. You can tell from the reactions from the players. Maddie pulled that one out 4-2, so Maddie Ice advances semifinals. The game after that on stream was Strainer versus Papaden Dennis from Dinger City. It was close at the beginning. Dennis pulled away late, 14-4, but Strainer was someone that I think hasn't been in the Discord, and I noticed that they were chatting recently. So, like, I think this is someone that we got into the community because of the meetup, and they had a good time. So that was really cool for net play.
Yeah, he didn't get mercied until I think the 8th inning, and he kept it close until probably the 7th. So
it looked like he was gonna start beating Dennis at one point.
Yeah,
in the game, you really think, based on Dennis's, he's a very animated player when he's playing there. You would think like he had 1 star and the game was tied, and Strainer had 5 stars or whatever it was, and Dennis just couldn't get on base. Like, you'd think that Dennis was about to lose there, and then he just pulls through.
If you want some good reactions and you want some like good potential Discord emotes, you gotta watch Dennis play in this tournament, because I've never seen the man more animated in a chair than he was on this stream.
We need to get John Boy to do some lip reading, because he was talking to himself during the Maddie game. Which, speaking of the Maddie game, Dennis versus Maddie, first semifinal game on stream. Maddie takes that one 7-1, dominating the whole time on the mound. It took Dennis getting a weak grounder to first base that rolls past the corner baseman to take the first run off a DK Banana in the 9th inning. I think the really interesting thing from that game, we'll talk about it later, is people have been talking about Paratroopa and Dry Bones coming back up as line drive star swingers, or I guess you could do red Dry Bones for Falcon Pop. So I think we'll talk later about possibly tier list changes after watching that performance from Dennis in that game.
Yeah.
But then, go ahead, Raviannn.
No, you can go. I'm sorry.
I was going to say then the next semifinal was Cactus Peacock. Cactus took that one 10-0 handily. I was on comms for that game, and it ended as soon as it started. Just Cactus was rolling. He had all his heavies in order that day, and it showed. But then, as hot as Cactus was, there was no one more locked in than the Iceman himself, Matty Ice, winning finals 11-1 in quick fashion. And so Matty Ice
4 innings, right?
3.
That sounds
3.
Bottom of the 3rd, I think.
It was bottom of the 3rd.
That's
I believe
so quick. I don't even.
was,
Because I don't think Hammer Bro got 2 at bats.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah,
Just insane.
It was insane. He was locked in, and again, we'll talk more about the meetup here in a second. But those, I think if you start from the Baltimore game on, I think you get a pretty good idea of what happened during the tournament with the top games. But obviously, there were some other games on stream as well.
Yeah. The meetup games were really cool. My favorite part about the meetup games themselves was not just that the games were really good and high quality, but it was that it was mostly players who had never played each other except online, and they're finally getting a chance to play each other in person. Not only that, but if you actually go watch the VOD, the stream setup looks so official. The first time we had a player cam setup for Mario Baseball with, a company logo. Well, we've had a company logo, but all of those things put together, it just looks so official. Baltor's match, he's got the sunglasses and the hat on. He looks like a poker player. It's just amazing.
It looked like that stream could have been out of Genesis.
Yeah, you would think.
Like, it had great production. And from like an at-home spectator standpoint, the Baltimore Maddie game was wild. I mean, it was like there were like opportunities, there were great defensive plays, there was slap hits everywhere. But the game that ultimately ends at a 4-2 score, like it for a 4-2 game, it was very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I know
especially-
Maddie made that insane paratroopa super jump
Oh my lord.
catch
Yeah.
that robbed a home run. Did he also have a wall? Was there also a wall jump in that game? Separate? I mean, there probably wasn't. I don't
I'm sure
know.
there
Baltimore
was.
had a
There's a
clamber
lot.
in left field with
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah,
he
it
did.
was. Oh man, we're spoiling the game, but it's really good. Go rewatch it, even if you saw it already.
Mhm.
It's
Absolutely.
just so hype. It that really brings out the community, and I not being there, I watched it as well. I don't really nitpick the game, not like that type of person, not like that high level. I'm more of a producer type of guy. And shout out to Dynamite for hosting that as well. He did a really good job. Shout out to the venue as well for setting everything up. But I saw just what they had there, and I was just my mouth was just watering. I was like,
Mhm.
whoa.
They had like 7 screens inside that
7
that
screens.
stream room.
Running a server to
was-
get all the footage,
Yeah.
running it through OBS on 2 different separate computers. I was just so confused. Oh, I was confused. I was happy. I was going crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. The venue was super awesome. They were super helpful with getting us set up for this. And we're hoping to do some more stuff there in the future, and I think it's looking good for us.
Yeah, big shout out to the Meta.
Yeah,
in St.
absolutely.
James.
Yeah. The coolest part about that whole thing too was that as we were leaving, they were just saying like, "Oh yeah, we'd love to have you. We'd love to throw another one of these." And it's just cool. There's other people there as well who weren't even. They were just there for the meta, not even the tournament itself.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What Mario baseball tournament? Like that's so cool."
Yeah,
Let
we
me
even
know when this
had
happens again.
we had Suarez playing in that tournament. For anyone
Suarez.
familiar with the Smash scene, he's
Oh,
he's like
yeah.
a top player in New York.
Yeah, Yoshi.
So really cool stuff, and he played pretty well. So I imagine we'll be seeing more of him at least in LAN events.
Yeah.
If we have him. But yeah. I'm excited. I think this will pretty much be the first consistent LAN event happening at like a competitive level, which is really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we're super hyped for it.
Yeah, we got the seed planted now. Now the word's out about LAN Mario baseball tournaments.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know more TOs in the melee scene as well too. I'll try to sneak in a couple side setups, get some side brackets going for
Yeah.
tours in the melee scene. It'll be a fun time. And
That's
then
super cool.
Long Island will just be the home of Mario baseball. It kind
Pretty
of
much.
already is, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York City, Long Island, that area.
It's just so cool to see everything growing right now. Like it's so
Yeah.
small, and that was just a big step in the right direction.
yeah.
You just took random people and they played Mario Baseball, and like this is the best thing I've played in a long time.
Mhm.
It keeps going. There's so much potential growth, and I'm so excited for this. It's so nice to see. It puts a smile on my face.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got about like 2 or 3 years until we are at Genesis or something like that. So pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, based on I did the math already.
So yeah, something like that.
Smart guy Cokes.
Exponential. It's exponential.
It's exponential.
If you bring
I
it
don't
to
know
Gommel, I can show up instead.
Oh, let's go. I don't know about you guys who were at the meetup, but I actually barely even played that many games. I was just all over the place trying to like play the stream game and then talk to people in tournament and watch stuff. I don't know about you guys, but that was kind of my experience. I was all over the place trying to. It was just kind of overwhelming in a way. It's like wow, like the
Yeah.
whole news is like here. Well, not the whole,
Definitely.
one, but a lot.
I
I think
played
Go
2
ahead, Jack.
games.
Yeah, I had played 2. One was on stream. One was a 5-inning random game on Peaches
Yeah.
Garden.
Might need to like make it a 2-day event later on if we get more
Yeah.
people, because it gives
There-
more
yeah.
time just to maybe a day just to relax and meet everyone. And then the next day is your tournament, just to it's worth it in the money part if you're putting a little bit extra money in, because it's an experience. You're paying for the experience, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
something
definitely.
you take home and you love. Seeing Clutch's sign, I miss all my meetup pals. So, I could tell he had a wonderful time. So I think the 2-day thing might be a good idea in the future.
Yeah, definitely, potentially. I mean, we'll see how it goes in the future. We'll see what costs are looking like and things like that. But I mean, just for like a first go at this, I think we knocked it out of the park. Everyone had a great time, and it was even aside from the actual day of the meetup, like the whole weekend, people were just around hanging out and whatever. We had Baltor at Dinger City on Monday, so we got some recording done with him. So it was a great weekend for everybody involved.
Yeah,
good to see one of the high net play streamers get there. That's really cool. I'm excited and I want to see what Baltor brings to the table over there. See if he takes down some of the Dinger City boys.
Oh, believe me, you won't want to miss it. Believe me. I wasn't even there, but believe me.
All right. Anything else y'all want to talk about meetup related and anything? Y'all three?
Not much. I'm excited for the next one. I know we're already looking into scheduling a monthly, but even if aside from a monthly, if we do like a bigger thing, somewhere down the line, maybe later this year, I'm looking forward to it already.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
All right.
I'll start saving.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all going to do that now. Moving into our next topic, it's going to be a new one we're bringing on, hopefully to do it weekly. It's going to be viewer comments. We read your comments and answer them live on the pod. First ever viewer comment question is going to be from PK Kirby, saying, "Shot in the dark, but the Turtles, Drybones, and Paracupa will rise again as players start to shift back to line drive star hitters. Opinions on this?"
Bone sucks.
Yes. Thank you,
It
Joe.
looks so bad in the Dennis game. Like, I'm sorry. So Baltor, Jason, and I were on comms for both the semis games, and I kid you not, we probably talked about the Bones pick for 90% of the game. Like, it just defined the whole game because he picked all these star swingers and he took Bones. And so he had Bones at second base, which hurt his defense. And then he wasn't star swinging, which is the whole reason to take the star swingers. And so, and I even acknowledged it on stream. I'm like, the only benefit then is you are trying to make Maddie pitch to avoid your star swings because you have like 4 or 5 stars the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not taking advantage of him probably staying on the outside part of the plate, because I mean, outside pitching is good regardless, but if you know where they're going to pitch outside, it might like help you a little bit. But if you're not reading it anyways, then you need to start using your stars to get something going. So it didn't look good there. I am sold though on Paracupa rising up, especially after the super jump catch in right field. And honestly, so many more people are going away from PM as a lefty. So now it's a righty, which was where a lot of wall jump homers were from. And I think people are getting away from the curve trajectory hitters a little bit. But like, it feels like more and more homers are just not wall jumpable because people are making better and better contact because they're getting to be better hitters. And so if it's down, I mean, I think I still take Mario Luigi first, but I might take Paratroopa over Bowser Jr. in right field now.
I think I might like Para more than Luigi. Definitely more than Bowser Jr. Luigi's close. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I like the bat more personally. I like the star hit, but wall jump is not going anywhere.
Yeah,
wall jumps.
super jump.
That's true. That is true. I don't like him in the field. He's kind of got a noodle arm. He's got the same speed as Paratroopa. I know his dive's a little better, but I don't know. I
have 60 speed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We can definitely check on that. But Paratroopa, my favorite thing about Paratroopa, a little Coke says, check that one, man. Just check the memory bank. But my favorite thing about Para is that if you throw him in right field with Bowser on first, since he has such a strong arm and a quick windup, you can actually make 9-3 putouts.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it enough that I'm like, this might be worth it.
Green Para does have 60 speed, by the way.
Yeah, I thought so.
But
I just think that.
Go ahead.
Damn, Canadian standoff. I'll go first. I think that my issue with Para is that he's just missing a lot of the balls that somebody like Luigi's, I think, catching on that one, or like the Mario's catching on the dive and things like that. I think that he's got the
Definitely
chance.
Mario.
I don't think that Bones has a spot because where are you putting Bones on the field? You're putting him in center field to hide him, but there's already enough players that were hiding right now in center field with
Have way
Swerve,
better bats.
or your like third power hitter. PM sometimes we're hiding there, or people are putting Wario there.
Toadsworth.
There's so many better players to hide, and I was a big fan of Bones when he was in the meta last year, and I think he was my top average. But I'm playing him right now in classic, games, and it's nice, but it's
Bone
not anything
Zone.
compared to what. Yeah, I'm trying for the Bone Zone right now. I can't quite get it, but it's not nearly as good. But the Para's the only thing I think has a chance, but I'm never giving up a wall jumper.
Nah.
All right.
Wall jumpers are just too good at just getting the opportunity to rob those home runs. Like, don't get me wrong. I love my super jump catchers. I love a good super jump catch. They're hype. They're hard. They're such like a cool like skill barrier, and like it's a really challenging input to actually get a good super jump. Like I had one super jump against Clutch. It was a boomerang bro hit, and it was about to like go to the pole. It was gonna be in the park. I was gonna hit the wall, but I super jumped it with Luigi before it could get to the wall, and it just like it was just so like invigorating. It just felt so good to get like a good super jump catch, but super jump can't replace wall jump. I don't think it. I don't think
Wall jump has better range.
Yeah.
You can wall jump from further away, and sometimes with super jump, when you're doing, even if you do that really like crazy input, where you like stop dashing and you get the perfectly timed jump and all that, even if you do that, sometimes you're just not close enough and the ball's still too high because it kind of it's on an arc. But with wall jump, you kind of magnet to the wall with wall jump, so you have more range there. And like obviously Mario's not going anywhere in right field. Luigi's most likely here to stay. But I think Paratroopa is better than Bowser Jr., and I think Paratroopa has a good place in left field also. If you don't want to take, you don't want to take Noki, maybe you want Para instead. I think Noki's better, but I think that Para could be a reasonable preference. It's good on the Bowser team.
Yeah, especially because most of the time, if you're taking Para, you're Bowser team, and
Yeah.
as of right now, most of the time Bowser team has Bowser, Bro, and King Boo, while leaving the only heavy hitters for the other team to be DK and PD typically. Maybe like a Wario here and there, maybe the occasional lefty PM, but those I mean PD's obviously a huge threat, but those like the other home run hitters, they're not like super scared of them getting one that's unwall jumpable. So maybe Para right field on the Bowser team is the new decision that we have to consider.
You want to hear my thoughts on Dry Bones?
Oh,
Sure,
boy.
go ahead.
Always.
Love to.
All right. It's 2 words. Cursed ball.
No, don't
All right,
talk
hear me
about
out.
this.
Hear me out. Go to the season 7 recap video on Dinger City.
Oh
where
yeah.
Stats recap. It goes through all the players and their stats on the season, all that stuff, right? And it says, there's a segment where it goes through their record and their head-to-heads, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a section where it goes through their best characters. It shows you the best pitcher and the lowest ERA of that person. And then which character had the best batting average or OPS or whatever statistic you guys used. I don't remember. And then, you're going through the video and there's a lot of Bowser best hitters. There's a lot of Boo best pitchers, standard stuff. And then it gets to huge, young upstart Joe Stimmel, right?
Yep.
And it says best hitter, Bones. Batting average was like, 0.6 or something, like
Yeah,
600.
he was batting well over 500.
Batting 600 with Green Bones. Best pitcher, Green Bones. ERA, I swear it was 0.7.
It was.
I swear.
Dude,
And
his
now listen,
Bones was nasty.
I don't know if this was like cursed ball or if it was just so weird or if it was just huge being weird himself. I don't know. But all I
think
know
you
is
got
that
lucky, man.
I want to know the amount of plate appearances
Dude,
and the amount of innings pitched.
I played one game against his Green Bones and I put up 17 runs that game. So I'm not too worried about that.
Truly cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's
is-
the cursed ball.
Truly cursed.
This is before we knew about Cursed Ball, which is, it was funny, and he was just like a Green Bones guy, and maybe he had a feeling or something. But
For anyone
That
that doesn't
day.
know what cursed ball is,
Yeah.
cursed ball is a stat that we found in the data mine. I believe it's OX2 is what the
OX4.
actual is it OX4?
OX2
no, it's
is the
two.
back.
I think OX2 is the cursed
Oh,
ball.
that's right.
stat.
2 was I
Yeah,
flipped it.
there's
Ignore
OX4
me.
is a different one. I forget what that one is. But
It's how quick you can break back and forth with your curve.
okay, gotcha. So OX2 is what we nicknamed the curse ball stat. All the dry bones have a OX2 of 90, which is tied for the highest in the game. And basically it is a multiplier against your sweet spot nice contact. And it basically means like your power hitters, your Warios, your DKs. Not as it doesn't affect Bowser and PD as much because they could pretty handily get it over the wall most of the time, but it still can affect them. But it makes them hit less far. And you're sacrificing your curve and your general pitching for this niche, possibly very low possibility of maybe saving a home run off of one of those characters. But you know what? If you have a good Bones pitcher, I think Hells is rocking the red Bones for Classic this year. We'll see how long that lasts him. But
All I'm hearing from this is if you're saying it causes hitters to hit less far, it means if Bones rises up in the meta, Para's going away because we need wall jumpers in right
that's
field
exactly
again.
what I heard.
right,
So we're
Yeah.
screwed. And the one thing I will say about wall jump,
endless
like
cycle.
Para being good, is the moment that we stopped seeing Para in the meta was when people on netplay got good enough to wall jump consistently. It was like the
True.
exact moment, like September, October of last year, Para just started diving and everyone started learning how to wall jump. It stopped just becoming, a niche thing that you'd hear
Yep.
about or see once in a while.
Yeah, definitely, and also just like not to put down Paratroopa Starhit because it's good, but like people just like Noki more. Noki's got better defense in my opinion, and the star hit's still really good, and the hit without a star, while it's still not good, it's better than Para's because that is one
Agree
of
with
the
that.
worst slap hits I've ever seen in my life.
I charge actually. I do.
Yeah,
Charge
I
until-
think that's the right move.
I hope I split a gap quick enough.
I for real think that's the right move because Para's got low trajectory, so you're gonna hit the ball into the ground.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I think Green Para is a decent character. He's a good filler for Bowser team if you need a star hitter. He's got decent bat reach. I think he has the exact same bat reach as Noki. So it's a preference at that point. Although I hate saying this, but Green Noki and Green Para do have the same speed.
Same pitching stats too.
Is it really the same
Same
pitching
throwing.
stats?
Yeah,
Same
they have like the
throwing.
Oh, wow.
identical stats.
It's identical
All
stats,
right.
just difference in release.
Yeah.
Sidearm versus over the
Yeah,
top.
Noki sidearm busted.
Love sidearm.
You say you love sidearm, but you say you don't like Dixie pitcher.
Yeah, because I think Diddy's better. We're not getting into this now.
Oh my gosh! All right.
We're getting off track, but anyways.
Yeah. Anyways,
Final thoughts on tier
Para
list changes with
Para good, Bones bad.
Yeah,
That's the basic consensus, I think.
I'm comfortable with that.
and
Para's
Para's
20 to
still probably
22.
around 21, 22, but
Yeah.
in certain scenarios should be drafted in that.
I'm not going to yell at anyone for taking Paratroopa.
No.
Yes.
Especially if it's on Bowser team.
Yeah.
All right, viewer comment number 2. It's going to be from Vickless Falcon saying, something I've seen in Stars On lately is people switching to slap hitting with 2 strikes and moving away from the strikeout or charge hit mentality. Anything you guys want to add to this? I've been seeing it a lot. I've been doing it a lot too. Even in Stars On League, I'll be doing a charge hit with maybe Wario or something. And I'll be like, okay, just gonna go for a base hit here, or in other words, like maybe like Luigi is a good one too. You're going for the charge, trying to hit one out, and you go for a slap hit. And I've noticed that is allowed me to figure out who the better slap hitters are in Stars On, and it's made my gameplay a lot better because now I never charge with Luigi, never. I don't care anymore. I can slap it on the left side of the field consistently, get a base hit, maybe a double. So, what's your guys' opinion on this?
Yeah, I think Stars On did this really interesting arc from, it went from like people typically go to Stars Off first and then they transition to Stars On later. If they want to play more Stars On, or they dabble in Stars On and then go back to Stars Off. They go into Stars On and they charge with everybody. Everybody is charge swinging, no matter who it is. It could be Toadette at the plate. Toadette's charge swinging for the fences. Because, I mean, realistically, anyone can get a perfect contact homer and hit it out. And that's just Stars On. But now people have started realizing, again, I think more, that slap hits still are decent. While they're not as good as Stars Off, I think characters like Donkey Kong, Toadsworth, your start, like, especially like the characters that have low power, I'm trying to think off the top, like
Walu.
Characters that you would see. Yeah, Walu. I mean, Walu slapping Stars On is still really good. Magic Koopa slapping Stars On is still really good. Your more niche characters like Toadette. You don't see Noki as much in Stars On, but her slap is still decent. They're better in their. You really have to consider whether you want to charge or slap hit, and people are now leaning more towards slap hit. Yeah, it's a really interesting arc that it's been of everyone charge versus we're gonna slap.
And I just think the charge to start going into the slap, which is what Vickless brought up, I think it's a good call. I mean, I'm doing it in Stars Off as well, even, with somebody like Wario. Same ideas. If I'm not hitting the first two, it's easier to contact on the slap, and, I'm going to get that more often. And if not, pitchers usually got me red sometimes by that point, so might as well play the odds of being able to hit a single. So I don't think that's any different between Stars On and Stars Off, but I think the one thing is that people, as Remke was just saying, was just like people are realizing what Stars On is. It's kind of the wild west out there right now, still in Stars On. It's meta's not defined, tier lists aren't defined, so people are finally realizing what they can do.
I mean, if you're gonna go for RNG hits with perfect contact, you might as well go for RNG hits with slap hits.
I just think in Stars Off, at least, I understand the kind of like two-strike approach of just going for contact. Especially with Donkey Kong, like if you're a Donkey Kong charge swinger and you're down 0-2 or it's like 1-2, then yeah, go for the slap because it's certainly easier and it's more consistent. But I feel like the only other character that you're really ever going to see that with is Petey, and I hate it with Petey because like if you're gonna hit the ball with Petey, hit it over the fence. Don't worry about that slap hit. I've seen it enough. I've seen it a few times, and sure, it does land. It's kind of like Donkey Kong light on the slap hit. It's got a terrible contact zone though. It's a PD's contact zone for slap hits and for charge hits too is abysmal. So just charge swing, man. Just I don't know. I could see it with DK, but otherwise in Stars Off, I don't see much merit to it. I do like it in Stars On though.
Yeah, especially with the star hit. You have the pop fly star hit with PD. Yep. You're mostly going to go for that if you have a big star gauge, maybe 3 or 2.
Yeah. In Stars On for sure, yeah.
I don't see going for the slap hit in Stars On. Maybe there's that odd situation. I've seen it before, but like you're going to hit it out if you're going to get good contact. And if you don't, you're going to get an out. So just go. You made a good point there, Joe. Swing for the fences.
You know what you can do to make the slap work, actually? You can hold the R trigger and then pull the ball with your slap hit. In Stars On, it's a home run. You can do that.
Oh. Pop fly enjoyer.
Yeah.
I hate pop fly and Stars On so much, but that's a conversation for another time.
Just get perfect contact with a pop fly star hit, and it's a home run. Easy.
Well, not necessarily. Oh, some characters, yeah, but PD, I don't think so. You could just
Nice.
pop it off with
PD,
nice.
PM, KB, like you just hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, KB is just busted, so
KB's busted, then it goes PD,
Busted.
then I think you can kind of go down to
PM.
PM. PM is you still have to hit the ball decently well, but it's a lot more easier because of the expanded.
I've seen so many sour spot KB star hits who go out of the park. It's disgusting.
Oh yeah,
It's so disgusting.
I have him for Stars On League. I got gifted him as I joined the league, and definitely was like down here, and now I've been slightly getting up on my star hits with him. Made me a better player with him, but like everything's flying out now. It's crazy. It's just you gotta learn, and once you learn, it's broken.
Yeah, he's super broken in Stars On, and honestly, I've been using the KB Falcon Pop in Stars Off. I think it's a solid option
Okay.
because the KB's charge swing has been people have kind of shown that they're not super comfortable with it a lot of the time, myself included. Not everybody, but he's the harder character to hit home runs with, I think. And if they're pitching you inside and you're not comfortable with the pitches, rip a Falcon Pop. It's good.
I've been
Hells
arguing
is so
that.
mad.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is disgusting. Man.
I've been arguing just slap then. Just don't waste
I
a star.
hate his slap so much.
Why?
Also,
Ugh, I don't know. It
people
just
are
never
pitching-
lands.
people are pitching KB outside to make sure he's not hitting, and that's the big way that people are stopping it. People
That's
are pitching
true.
you inside on KB, and you're slapping. Get better with KB and just hit a home run when they pitch you inside. Like that's just the answer on that one.
True. So true.
All right, anything to add on that one? Or is that
I
gonna
mean,
be-
I think the
you know.
only last thing that I think could translate a little bit, and actually it was Poke Bunny and I were talking about it a bit in the Discord, was two-strike approach and Stars Off. Obviously, you have a lot of slap hitters, so you don't do charge to not charge. But I think starting to sit on more pitches that are really hittable and for good contact, and not worrying about covering the whole plate with two strikes. Because a lot of times then you just end up with like sour contact or contact you're not going for. Like maybe you swing out of your shoes and get early. And if you got runners on, you could really hit yourself in a lot of double plays. I think what might start happening more, might be a good approach, is sitting on a specific pitch and then either ripping it or let it, if they beat you with an inside pitch and you're looking outside, take your strikeout and go to the next hitter instead of hitting in double play because you sour spotted right to the shortstop for 6-4-3 double play. I think that could be an interesting development because we see it in the MLB today. How many players now just say, I'm going for the home run or not, and if I strike out, I strike out, because that's better than me making poor contact, grounding out, and turning two with runners on. So I wonder if there could be a similar rise in Mario Baseball, and how people be more selective with two strikes versus trying to protect the plate so much, depending on the hitter. Because sometimes you can hit it poorly with a hitter and it's not a huge risk because they don't hit sour spots hard or something like that.
I could definitely see it with some characters. Like, obviously, if you're rocking like Toadsworth or something, like Toadsworth's going to hit. And
if you're making contact, it's flying somewhere.
Yeah. Like Toadsworth, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you touch the ball, it's gonna land. It's either gonna land for a hit or you got unlucky and it's ground out. So that's just kind of how it is. But I could see some merit to, like, when you're playing with maybe a worse slap hitter, one of the characters you're less comfortable with or something, and you're like, I don't want this double play, so you can either pick a spot or you can just kind of be like, this is. I don't want to ground out here. I'm gonna kind of accept that this is a failed at bat. Maybe, pick a spot, swing at it. I don't know. I could see the merit in not trying to get double played, but I also think that that's more of I think it's something for more of like a new player to worry about, because when you get to like the higher level, I just think like if you're swinging at a pitch, it's because you know where it's going. And obviously, yeah, you're going to get jammed up sometimes because, characters like Dixie Kong and Diddy Kong who put so much curve on the pitch, they're going to get into the sour spot on the bat. That's why people like them so much, is because they do have that, they do have that curve that you can jam people up. But ultimately, I think like a good player is going to hit their spots.
Yeah.
I saw the Toadsworth stats ran earlier today, actually, from the Rio database, and it's insane. The righty Toadsworth in total is batting 456, and then that's without the star hits. Only the star hits is 596. I mean, I don't know what the
That's
average is
insane,
probably-
dude.
That's really
across the
good.
board, it's probably 500. Like that's so insane.
Wow.
And that's across all players. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's across all players.
we all know there's a huge jump up with those
Right.
good slap bats
So-
as the higher you get up the
Imagine like
leaderboard.
top 20, man. Like just top
Right.
20 players, top 10 players.
Probably 600 at least.
Toadsworth is the most beginner friendly character in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
He has. I have never seen a sour spot Toadsworth slap hit. Never.
It's
I don't think
certainly rare.
I don't think I've ever seen it in my life. But it's certainly not on the end of his bat. I think there might be an inside sour spot, maybe. But I've seen more perfect Toadsworth home runs than I have in Stars Off than I have Toadsworth sour spot.
Not wrong there.
Slap it.
Totally
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yep.
It's he's just so beginner friendly. His bat's so big. He just like gets great trajectory. He has so many balls land like just behind the middle infielder, but just in front of the outfielder.
Reach is insane, man.
Reach is absolutely insane. He's just a great beginner friendly character, and I think to kind of counter the point a little bit, I do think like the 456 and 596 is what you said.
Yeah.
Crazy numbers. I don't think
Insane.
those grow too much if you
No.
only pull the top players, because you don't really get better with Toadsworth. Toadsworth is just good, and you hit your hits. You get them to your you can get better as you get better with all slap hits, but Toadsworth is pretty user friendly, and you'll get on base with him most of the time as a beginner, so you won't grow his stats as much as other characters. So I'm sure it would be a little bit higher with the top players, but characters like Mario, characters like Waluigi, characters those are the ones that come to my head right now. Those are the ones that take a lot of skill, to really master and get consistent. Optimal Waluigi play is frame perfect with stick input. That's if you're frame perfect with stick input, you'll get a hit 100% of the time with Waluigi. And that's obviously none of us are at that level, and none of us will ever be at that level, but that's kind of where there's a bit of a skill gap from Toadsworth to some of the harder slap hitters.
I think you said it perfectly. Toadsworth, he's got a ceiling, and it's not that hard to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
15 games and you're basically there.
Yeah. Hop into batting practice for a minute. You're good.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up with the last topic. And Cokes, before we start, we're not gonna nail this at you, as this is something that you
I figured.
super involved in, and this is your thing.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna talk about it, and you are more than welcome to chime in about it because it's your thing.
Cool.
This is Net Play Superstars. Big discussion going on in the community in the past week, going with, what it's about. So what's the format of this tournament? It's going to be open participation, qualification circuit, closed invite. What should this stand for? What does this tournament stand for?
Do you want me to answer or someone else to chime in?
I want
I
you
think-
to start off first, if possible.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Netplay Superstars was originally the only tournament you could really sign up for in the Discord. I don't know. I don't remember how long ago it was until other tournaments started popping up. I think the first tournament that wasn't Netplay Superstars was actually Rookie Rumble, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, I think people started taking it into their own hands to run their own tournaments. But Netplay Superstars is it's a sort of a historic thing. It's just kind of been the event in the Discord ever since we started running events. It literally started off because I said, I was in the Netplay channel, and I was like, hey, who wants to run a tournament? This sounds dope. Like this message if you would enter. That's literally what it was. And then someone was like, oh, hey, I can stream it for you, by the way. And then that's literally just how it began. For me, I've always seen it as this type of tournament. It's this is the tournament of, let's say, the month or this season, this time period, or whatever it is. And it's okay, we're going to try to get as many of the good players and anyone who wants to test their skills to compete in this tournament and like show what they got. No stipulations. There's no no disrespect, but no toy field with all these the gecko codes. There's no stipulation or anything. It's just we're just gonna play Mario Baseball as we see it on Dinger City, as you've seen it on your streams and everything, as you play in ranked, and we're just gonna see who the best is on this day or this month or whatever it is. Yeah, that's kind of how I've seen it. I kind of want to hear more. I've been thinking about new formats for the tournament because I don't like the one that we're running right now. And I think if the tournament keeps getting more players, so the last one was 74 people. So if it keeps getting more people or the similar numbers, I don't think the current format is sustainable. So then I started asking around, what would be a good format to shift towards as a better long-term plan that's going to work for more people and stuff like that. So that's what I started thinking about. I have some of my own ideas, but I like to gauge community ideas, opinions, the people actually playing in the tournament and see what they think as well. So I don't know if anyone else has an idea that they wanted to share, but now
I
do it.
I have one opinion on this.
Okay.
Netplay Superstars has to be an open tournament. Always. If we want an invitational, if we want like a top 16 of ranked or whatever tournament, great, awesome, fantastic. Call it something else because that's not Netplay Superstars. Netplay Superstars is an open bracket for everyone that wants to play. And that's I think no matter what you do to the format of the tournament, it does not matter as long as you keep it open.
Yep. I 100% agree with that. I think, as the newest member of like this server and as the newest kind of player get integrated into the community, coming in like to kind of close to the beginning of a Netplay Superstars was pretty huge, because I was like, yeah, this is a spot where I can enter and like kind of start to hopefully make a run and show myself off as a player. And it really should just be anybody has a shot. And honestly, I like the current format with the pools. I think it works well. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not a TO, especially not to a
TO nightmare.
Yeah,
it's a TO nightmare. And
It's
I'm
a
not
TO
fan.
I can imagine.
nightmare.
But I think like pools and like giving, the mid-tier players, the lower tier players, like genuine tournament matches against top level players, I think is very important for the community. And that's important for lower level players' growth as well. To be able to like experience true tournament setting for themselves. So whether that's I think the whole thing is open and fair tournament. Everyone's on fair ground except for, seeding, but I think it's no freebies given out, in my opinion.
Yeah. If you were to change what Netplay Superstars is, then you got to change like all the Netplay Superstars champions titles because they're not Netplay Superstars champions anymore, really, because that wouldn't be Netplay Superstars. So it's just like it gets confusing. Just keep it Netplay Superstars, keep it open, keep it as it is. Maybe change the how the tournaments run, sure. But I think it's a great idea to have a closed bracket for like the top players. Pick a new name, call it something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't have anything else on. I don't have any other thoughts on that, but I think that's important.
I think I've got quite a few on that one. I've won 2 of them since I've come in here, and I think like to me that was one of the big things. As was said by Remke, like when I showed up, you guys had just started that summer tournament that took you guys. It felt like 4 years to finish. I think it was like 2 months. Also, Coach, you're wrong. There has been a tournament before the new net players one. It was
Really?
Big Daddy's Little League World Series that I won. Also a complete shit show, but I won it, so it's okay.
Remember that?
Yeah,
I've heard
so
stories.
I need a story time later. I haven't heard of this one before.
it's a beautiful tournament. Just that's all you have to know, and I am the reigning champ.
Yep.
We'll never have another one.
Oh God.
But yeah, so I think I've been one of the people who's been more vocal on like liking a lot of the ways that we've had it. I'm probably one of the most vocal people on that people need to shut up about seedings and stop crying. I there's nothing that angers me more than reading, like coming home from work and seeing 500 new messages all complaining about their seating when Coke said, we're going to base it off a ranked ladder, and then people just throwing their arms up in the air and not accepting the ranked ladder rankings.
At NPSS 10.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to name names, but dear God, yeah. So I think that's been... it's been great experiences, each one of the NPSs. Like, it's just seeing that open, and yeah, anybody can make it. Anybody can do that. I loved the one you did where we had massive groups. I thought that was really cool because it got the most amount of games, and you got to play against so many different people. So I thought that was like, it's a super fun idea, and I get that it's, again, a TO nightmare. So many times people quit out after they lost 3 games. They couldn't win the group. And I just wish that people were better at playing their games than that. And I know it's so hard to do, but like, I thought that was such a cool idea where it was like, I think it was 8-person groups.
It was 8,
and so you got 7 games against people, and like, even I played with some of the people who were already eliminated. They're like, I'm just happy to get more games in. So that was really fun. I think that like the things that I stand for in MPS is that, you know, it's, first of all, somebody once talked about like doing an in-person NPS. I'm like, you really can't know what the acronym stands for if you think an in-person NPS can exist. Like, but I think like it's an online tournament. Everyone can enter, no barriers on it, and double elim or something of that form has been like, double elim. Like, I mean, best of 3s as well works, but I know that's even more of a nightmare.
It's just a stream nightmare at that point.
Yeah, I think
it's a top 8 nightmare, and that sucks, but it is what it is.
Those have been my 3 things that I think are great on it, and like, you know, we've seen so many cool stories. I mean, I think at one point we had a group of 4, was like me on like 8 or 7. It was like me, Kraszy, Matt Gree, and Cheeky or Toasty were all in the same group, and I was like, at that point, like, Kraszy and Toasty were like unknowns for it, and then now, you know, I think all 4 of us are in top 10 or top 12.
No, yeah, if you told me that was the pool today, I'd be like, we need to fix that.
Something's wrong.
Something went wrong.
Maybe the seating complaints were a little valid.
but at the time, that was a properly seeded group, and it's crazy to think that now they all are like, could be number 1 seeds in their group depending on who signs up and at what time the seeding's done.
Unpopular opinion, every group that has ever been seeded has been correct seeding. I completely fine with whatever it's seeded as. Like, I think that our ranked ladder, we have literally a mathematical formula to figure it out, and people are still gonna bitch. You'll never get a group to be happy.
Look, as long as you're not running like the top 2 seeds in the same pool, you'll be all right. Just
what we've for Netplay Superstars 10, I think we did Fanders helped me out a lot with the seeding. We did so first I ordered them by not the official ranked ladder, but it was a slightly different mathematical model that was supposed to be more accurate. So I was like,
well, there's your problem.
He's straight for the ladder.
First we ordered them via that, and then we said, okay, this tournament goes in the top 32, so like, let's at least make sure we get the top 16 really good. Top 16, 17 is the same thing. And then the top 32, we put a little bit more effort into it. And then after that, it's like, all right, we just go by the math at that point. I think we messed around based on, you know, for the top 16, we used like previous champs, and we went by, you know, previous tournament results and stuff like that. You know, tried to divide it up. And then, as the seeds got lower, we're like, all right, just use the number.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all in agreement though that Netplay Superstars has got to stay open. I think that's the biggest thing for sure.
Yeah, I think I might be the one that strays the most from that opinion. And my caveat to open is there might be some like direct invites into a final stage, which might be like pools or bracket for like the top players. But there absolutely should be no reason that you can't qualify into the final bracket. Whatever the final MPS bracket is, there must be some process that you can make it in by just signing up and being in the server. I think is absolutely necessary. I guess.
Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, part of me says, you know, top player privilege is all right. Give the top 8 seeds like a bye through pools or whatever. But then also part of me is like, if you're a top 8 seed, just win your pool.
Exactly.
The 3 things that I think that I want to see is some sort of remedy to pools, so that way it's not a TO nightmare for Cokes when people drop. Like whether that's double elim pool, so that way basically if you're mathematically out, you don't have to play anymore. Like setting up some sort of format like that. if there's bigger punishments for dropping out of NPSs without a valid life reason. Like obviously those happen. Like I don't want to punish anyone for that, but then also some of those people, honestly, I feel like the people that drop from pools don't stick with it. They're like new people that hop in and then they don't stick with it anyways. So a slap on the wrist for like you can't join the next one. Well, they weren't joining the next one anyways, because they just give up.
What about running Swiss pools? If we had bigger pools and it was just you played who had the same record as you, so you still end up with a top 2, and people that are low in the seeding or like the record standings dropping out won't affect the top seeds because they're only playing the players who have also won their games.
That's something I've thought about, or like having like that qualification circuit be like a Swiss style of like a lot of people, and then you like filter into either the double elim pools or regular pools, but like only have like 8 or something like that, and then you go to final 16 or final 32 bracket, and like you could run like 5 rounds of Swiss in one day, like 5 games or 6 days in one day. Like we already do top 8 in one day. Like that's not an awful ask. It's a long day, but it's not unreasonable.
Top 8's different though, because those are the people that made it that far. They're committed. They're committed to that. If you get some rando Joe that just goes in and not you, Joe, but if you get some random person and they're just a random and they're gonna commit to play 6 games, they'd be like, no, I don't want to do that, and there's gonna be stuff going on.
I really think though, like say we had a 64-person tournament, right? 8 pools, 8 people in a pool sounds like a lot, but it's realistically the only people playing 6+ games are the people who are winning their games, and those are the people who want to play their games.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely an action. I kind of just thought of like Swiss off the top of my head here, but I think that's like a legitimate solution to this problem.
I think the only things that I want to see is that the hype around it remains. I don't want it to become a format that we have to play it over a month to get through an MPS. I think that just kind of delays hype, and I want it to still be the respect and prestige for winning one is like I don't want there to be, okay, we had the first 10, MPS 10 and before, and then we go to a new format and people like don't see those champions in the same light. Like I don't think that's fair if we're going to keep calling it MPS.
I think Swiss affects that though. Cokes, what are you saying?
I don't think it does.
No, I've actually thought about Swiss before. It's been brought up. I am admittedly not. I generally know how Swiss works. You play someone with the same record as you and all that stuff. I'm not familiar with all the logistics, but the first thing that occurred to me with Swiss was that it's similar to bracket where the next round can't run until all of the games of the previous round are finished.
That's true.
So if you're doing the format like we do with round robin pools where you play it over the course of, on your own time over the course of however many days, that's already not really going to work because it just takes one dude to just be like, oh, I fell asleep or my power went out or whatever it is. And then the entire thing gets held up. So the alternative with that, you have to do it on a set day in order to make Swiss work, like you guys brought up before. And that that also has its own set of drawbacks as well. Asking people to commit to 2 days instead of just the one for top 8 or whatever it is. There's its own drawbacks there as well.
Looks like we're back to round robin.
And that's the real challenge between all this is whenever, when trying to think of a format, you want to think of something that there's enough games where you don't just, have one bad game and then it's like, all right, well, I'm basically out of the tournament now. So, you want some sort of, not way too much because, people got to get eliminated eventually, but a little bit of leeway where every game doesn't matter too much. You also want enough games to where the better players are more likely to win. If it was single elim, a single Birdo ball can literally just make you take 49th place. It's like, all right, this tournament doesn't really mean much anymore, At the same time, with more games comes more scheduling issues. And then you have to decide between whether if you want to extend the length of the tournament from 1 week to 1.5 to 2 weeks long, or if you want to have set days to play all the games. That way there's no issues like you have to play on these 2 days. But then people are less likely to sign up because they have to commit to 2 days instead of just one. And if you instead go with the 2-week format, well, then the tournament's longer and people start to lose interest the longer the tournament is. See summer playoffs, that was 3 months long, and literally nobody cared by the time the World Series showed up. That's a bit of an extreme example, but there's a lot of, confounding factors to try to balance of this thing. This is why I spend a lot of time trying to think about it.
I was gonna say, you could tell that Cokes has thought long and hard about this, and there's no good solution yet.
Exactly what I was going to say is, by the way, people, this is a live think tank session, and you just saw all the issues with each problem. So you're just like, why don't you just do this format, Cokes?
Yeah,
because there's an issue with it. It's not just that easy. So I do want to say is that Cokes is the GOAT TO right now in the community, and I hope it stays that way. So if you have ideas, like, always propose them, but please be constructive when doing so, and also try and be aware of the downsides of your idea, because all ideas have them for this tournament structure. Like I said, we are trying to allow for the most people while still giving the advantage to the top players, so that way upsets happen, but it's not like a Mickey Mouse tournament. Sorry, Baltimore.
12 entrants, by the way.
And then also trying to find something that keeps people engaged throughout the whole, because like I said, we could expand out to a month or 2 months and this is all done. We do a format that you have a lot of time to do it, but then no one's gonna be interested. So
TOing is hard, man. it's not easy.
I mean, for example, I have an idea in the tank for a long form tournament that we can talk about on a different podcast. I think we're coming up on the end here. But the way that one's going to keep interested is going to be very low commitment each round. And I think there's some like special little tweaks throughout that keep it interesting throughout it. And so you have to design it very carefully if you're going to do a tournament for more than like a week or two.
So anyways, like, comment, and like, subscribe, comment, and tell Cokes exactly how you would run this tournament and do it better than him.
Tell him why he's wrong.
Tell him how Cokes is wrong with every one of his thoughts that he's thought out for the last 6 months. About how all the discussions are pointless and that you should just do Pool's forehead.
Oh, sorry. But before we wrap up on the topic of people leaving comments on YouTube, someone left a comment. This is a bit of a tangent here. Someone left a comment on a Dinger City video recently where we discussed fielder swap limits, because I suggested we should limit them to 2. And then the guy was like, 2 is not a big enough limit. We need to do 1, and then wrote like an essay. It was like, I was reading it. It took me like 5 minutes to read this comment. It was just like, it was insane.
Wow.
People are passionate about how we're doing things wrong.
Imagine being that passionate about having a wrong opinion.
Damn,
we just appreciate the passion in this community and how people show it, even if sometimes the takes are a bit out there. As long as you're respectful and cordial whenever you say them, I always love reading them and always love new input, because new thinking, even if it's like out there now, maybe in 3 months we'll be like, wow, they were right all along.
Like, is para right field meta?
Hey, Dilo was talking about it.
Exactly. He might be the pioneer before Maddie even.
Yeah.
Or real comments like, why is Remke so bad with Boomerang, bro, and hating on him?
Lol.
Wow, looks like that's all the time we have.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up for Dingers and Discourse. You're home for the Mario Baseball podcast. This is a new one. Rate us on Spotify. Rate us on Apple Music. Give us some love there. The more ratings, the more broad this gets put out. Thank you to these fine folks, that being Hells, Remke, Mr. Joe Clutch, and Little Cokes, for coming on the show today. If you have any questions you want to leave for viewer comments, leave them down below on the YouTube video, so we can read them and see them. Anything else you guys want to add before we head out, guys?
Draft hammer, bro, not boomerang, bro.
Once again, I'll read every comment, so please leave a lot. I like reading them.
All right, well,
thanks for watching.
About your placements in tournaments.
Complain about everything. As I always say, adios and goodbye. Thank you for watching the Mario Superstar Baseball podcast. If you enjoyed this one, you can look at the other one that will be right in front of you right here. Yes, right in front of your face. Make sure to watch that episode. I'm not lying. Please watch that episode. It's right in front of you. Just click the goddamn button.